Lady wins lotto after husband leaves. Rain lashed against the windows as Emily Sanders stood in her kitchen, clutching a mug of coffee she had no intention of drinking. The clock ticked louder than it should, and every second that passed felt like it was mocking her. He was gone. Jason, her husband of 12 years, had walked out with nothing more than a suitcase and the coldest words she'd ever heard. "You're just not enough for me anymore." 12 years reduced to a sentence. He had packed up after weeks of distant gazes, silent dinners, and late nights at work. She should have seen it coming, but love has a way of blinding you until the storm crashes down. Jason left her with overdue bills, a mortgage hanging by a thread, and a heart full of shattered dreams. Her once comfortable home in Fairhill, Ohio, now felt like an echo chamber of broken promises. Emily worked as a cashier at the local grocery store. The pay barely covered utilities. Her old Toyota sputtered every morning, and her pantry offered more air than food. But she didn't crumble. She folded laundry with tears in her eyes, worked double shifts without complaint, and whispered affirmations to herself in the mirror. Somewhere deep inside her, a quiet flame refused to die. She just needed one break. It was a cold Friday evening. Emily had just finished a shift at the store, her feet aching and eyes stinging from fluorescent lights. She stopped at a gas station to buy milk, only to remember she couldn't afford both milk and bread. As she reached for her purse, her eyes landed on the Powerball display glowing behind the counter. The jackpot had reached a record $87 million. She chuckled bitterly. "Must be nice," she muttered. But then, on impulse, she pulled out her last $5 bill and said, "One quick pick, please." The cashier handed her the ticket. Emily tucked it into her coat pocket, picked up a discounted loaf of bread, and went home. Emily sat curled on the couch, wrapped in a blanket with a cup of cheap tea in her hand. The TV played the lotto numbers in the background while she scrolled job listings on her phone. And the winning numbers are 12, 19, 26, 34, 48, and Powerball 6. She didn't look up. It wasn't until midnight that she remembered the ticket. She unfolded it slowly, barely glancing before tossing it on the table, and froze, then stared, then screamed. Every single number matched. Her body went numb. Her hands trembled. She checked again, then again. $87 million. She had just become one of the biggest solo lotto winners in Ohio history. The news spread fast. By Monday morning, her phone buzzed nonstop with reporters, distant relatives, and old friends. A lawyer named Victor Langston contacted her and offered to help her manage the sudden windfall. He worked for a trusted firm in Columbus and came highly recommended. Emily, overwhelmed and dazed, agreed to meet him. Victor was calm, intelligent, and incredibly kind. He helped her set up trusts, secure investments, and hire security. Thanks to him, her identity remained private. To the outside world, she remained Emily the cashier, but she had just become one of the wealthiest women in the state, and no one, not even Jason, knew. 3 months later, Jason came back. He rang the bell of her modest house one afternoon, wearing a fake smile and holding a bottle of wine. "Hey, Em," he said as if he hadn't crushed her. "Mind if we talk?" Emily stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Her eyes were calm, controlled. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," he began. "I made a mistake. You were always the one. Things got tough, and I panicked." She listened without a word. "I miss you," he said softly. "Let's start fresh." He reached for her hand. She took a deep breath. "Start fresh? Jason, you left me when I was broken. You didn't even look back." He lowered his gaze. She smiled. "But I'm not broken anymore." Then she pulled out her phone, opened a banking app, and showed him the balance. His jaw dropped. "What is this?" Emily stepped back. "This is what you left behind." Then she closed the door. Emily didn't rush to mansions or Lamborghinis. Instead, she bought a modest, beautiful home in Windsor Heights, paid off her debts, and quietly helped her community. She funded the college tuition of 3 local students, paid off her friend Janet's medical bills. donated anonymously to the town library, and rebuilt the youth center. She even bought the rundown grocery store where she worked and turned it into a worker-owned co-op. Her days were still simple, filled with purpose instead of panic. She drank better coffee, but still from a chipped mug. And her joy wasn't from the money, it was from finally being in control. One rainy morning, Emily was driving through town when she saw a man sitting on the sidewalk with a "Will Work for Food" sign. It was Jason. He had lost everything. His new relationship had ended when she found out about his attempt to rekindle with Emily for money. His job at the marketing firm had disappeared in a merger. He was couch surfing, then sleeping in his car, until the car was towed. Now he was here, unshaven, soaked, and holding cardboard. Emily parked and approached slowly. He looked up. Shame painted his face. "Emily, I didn't know where else to go." She stared at him for a long moment. Then, reaching into her coat, she pulled out a folded check. "Here," she said. "Enough for a room, some food, and time to get back on your feet." He stared in disbelief. "Why would you help me?" Her eyes glistened. "Because I'm not like you." Then she turned and walked away. A year later, Emily stood on the stage of Fair Hill Women's Empowerment Gala, being honored for her contributions. The crowd gave a standing ovation as she accepted the award in a deep green dress, beaming with strength and peace. She spoke with grace. "I once thought being left made me less, but it made room for me to become more. And sometimes life breaks us, not to destroy us, but to rebuild us stronger." The applause was thunderous. Behind her on the wall, a quote lit up. "The woman who was left behind became the woman no one could catch up to." And she did.